Hey everyone! Welcome to Google Partners Connect. My name is Christina Galita, and I'm a program manager here at Google. I'm excited that you could join us today because for the first time, we'll be focusing specifically on the healthcare industry. We will walk you through research detailing how digital is not only changing the healthcare industry and the media landscape, but also consumers' attitudes towards health. We'll look specifically into online behavior around topics such as hospitals and urgent care, behavioral health, pediatrics, as well as beauty and fitness. We've provided your Google partner with an info sheet for you to take some of this information with you today. And as always, we would love to hear your thoughts. So please reach out to us by using the hashtag PartnersConnect. We're starting today off with Brendan Jacobson, who is currently leading our Google Partner healthcare efforts.
There's change happening all around us. We have change like Obamacare. Around the world, we're seeing that technology is changing the way that we're doing our jobs, whether that's with electronic health records, CRM systems, or even the way that we're treating patients. But most importantly, we're seeing that digital is changing the way that consumers are thinking about their health and where they're turning for answers to learn more. Now, these are exciting times for healthcare marketers because now there's an abundance of opportunity for you to connect and potentially influence prospective patients. But at the same time, it's a very fluid environment, a bit confusing. And many of you, I suspect, already know that you need to be investing more in digital marketing, but the question becomes, where do I even start? And that's what we want to help you with today. Over the past few years, Google has conducted a number of surveys and studies with Millward Brown Digital, as well as Google consumer surveys, trying to understand consumer behavior as it relates to our health. And we're going to share various data points with you today to try to help you make sense of everything that's happening and give you the opportunity to identify ways to insert yourself into today's digital patient journey. But first, I always think it's helpful to take a step back and understand how we got to where we are today. And when we look back at the 20th century, there were a lot of exciting developments happening in the healthcare space thanks to technology. We saw the advent of fetal ultrasounds, CT scans. We even saw DNA sequencing toward the end of the 20th century. We also saw the manufacturing of devices like these. Pictured here, we have the first heart defibrillator, as well as the first heart maker. In 1973, we saw the invention of the first ever insulin pump. Inventions like these, they were truly revolutionary breakthroughs that changed people's lives and allowed them to live longer than they normally would have. But as is the case with any new invention, there's always room for modification and improvement. I think if you were to ask a diabetic living in the 1970s, they would have hoped that one day, in the 21st century, we're seeing more be having this conversation 10, 15 years ago. And I were to tell you that we would have robots performing surgery, that we could point lasers in our eyes and get 20/20 vision, or even be able to have face-to-face interactions with our doctors from the comfort of our own home, or even on the go using our mobile device, you would have told me that I was crazy and that this sounds like science fiction. And frankly, I probably would have agreed with you. Google is an area that has all been back to our Google Health beta years ago. And while that project didn't work out the way that we had hoped, primarily due to privacy concerns, here at Alphabet we continue to strive to understand how can we use data and technology to give our users an opportunity to live happier, healthier lives. We know that not every moonshot idea that we try is going to work. We know the ones that we never try certainly won't work. But we're going to continue. We're talking about healthcare today. But the driving force behind this project, if you will, was how can we use all of the data and technology that we have here at Google to try to prevent all of those lives that are lost every year in traffic accidents that are caused by human error. And we see it in Google Glass. This was not designed specifically with healthcare in mind, but over the past few years we've seen some very cool, innovative applications being developed using Google Glass in the healthcare industry. And we see this at Verily. This is an Alphabet company that was formerly known as Google Life Sciences. In one of the projects, Health and Wellness, what is your go-to source for information? 43% of respondents said that the internet was their go-to source. And now, that could have been Google Search, WebMD, it could have been a hospital site. Nevertheless, they identified web-based resources as their go-to information for anything related to their health. Doctors, they came in second at 14%. And for those of you who call mom when you get sick, you're definitely in the minority, as only 1% of respondents. Now, this survey only validated what we already knew. Today, we are seeing that 1 out of 20 searches that are happening on Google have health and wellness intent. Now that's a really staggering figure when you consider the sheer volume of queries that are happening every second on Google search, and knowing that 1 out of 20 is related to inquiries about health. Search has become ubiquitous. It's a part of our everyday lives, and it's become a patient empowerment tool. It gives patients the power to inform and to educate themselves prior to even entering a doctor's office. And as marketers, that's pretty exciting. Each time one of these searches happens, we have an opportunity to engage prospective patients and to influence them to choose us as they go along this journey. And while 1 in 20 searches is pretty eye-opening, it's also worth noting that we continue to see health queries are rising 7% year over year. And as we can see here, this growth is being fueled primarily by mobile. Desktop volume remains significant, but relatively flat, especially in comparison with mobile, which continues to rise year after year. So, as consumers, our mindset as it relates to our health, it has changed considerably, thanks to digital. We've gotten to a point where we're no longer just sitting back looking for answers about what's ailing us, but we're starting to take control of our health. And if you need proof of that, pull out your mobile device. Look at the apps that you have. We have apps that serve as virtual trainers in the gym. We're counting how many calories we're consuming every day, how many steps we're taking every day. We even have apps that are saying, are we doing a good job sleeping? So clearly, we're becoming much more proactive about our health. In digital, it's making healthy living social, and we're actually finding ways to make being healthy fun. And that's one of the beautiful things about digital. It allows us to connect with people with shared passions and interests, and this extends into the health space. Today, we're meeting up with complete strangers to do things like dress up as zombies and chase each other through muddy obstacle courses, all in the spirit of getting in shape and just pushing one another. We're meeting up with complete strangers in Central Park to do yoga. And we have kids who are backpacking across Europe who are using apps to connect with other backpackers, just to have that much more of an enjoyable experience. Additionally, we're seeing a proliferation of devices that are helping us to live healthier lives. How many people watching here today are wearing one of these? Wearables, they're telling us when to stand up, when to walk, when to exercise. We have devices that are telling us what to drink. This is a product from a company called Vessel. The cup knows and tracks everything that you drink throughout the day. We have devices that are telling us how to eat. This is from Happy Fork. It's a fork that measures how long it takes you to eat and what are the intervals between your servings. Because eating too fast, it leads to poor digestion and poor weight control. And so the fork, it'll actually vibrate to tell you if you're eating too fast. We have devices that are telling us how to brush our teeth. Colibri has created a toothbrush that provides daily feedback on the quality of your teeth brushing. And we have a product here made by a company called Mimo, where it's a onesie for a baby that monitors its heart rate, how it's sleeping, whether it's on its side or its stomach, and it delivers all of this feedback as well as audio through an external device that can be in another room. So knowing how invested we are in terms of taking control of our health, it's not a huge surprise to know that according to a recent Gallup poll, Americans now view health as a top 5 concern in their lives, just behind things like the economy and jobs, but ahead of things like terrorism and that federal budget deficit that we can't stop hearing about every day in the news. And we know that it's no longer just a reactive measure. In fact, 16 out of 20 people, or 80% of Americans, are actively looking for ways to live healthier lifestyles. In the digital age, these people have so much more choice than they've ever had before. Video, social, search, there are so many resources at their fingertips. But it also makes things a little bit more competitive for marketers. How have the expectations of these consumers changed, and what do we need to understand to improve that patient experience? According to a Nielsen at-plan market sizing report, 156 million people online right now are in need of a health solution. Now, that's not to say there's 156 million people actively looking for a health solution, just that there's 156 million people that have a need. They may not be fully aware that they have this need, or maybe they're not acting on that need right now, but 156 million people have a need. All right, so as a marketer, if we understand that to be true, or as a service provider, if we understand that to be true, one of the challenges that we have to face is how do we insert ourselves, again, at the right time, at the right place, and with the right message when all of those people are out there, because they are out there. These prospects, these potential patients, they're there. The numbers bear that out. So clearly, these are exciting times in terms of health and technology. It's not only changed how we're able to treat health, but also how we look at our own health. We're spending countless hours online looking for information about our health. And so the question becomes, what does this all mean for a healthcare marketer? In order to better understand this, it's important to look at how healthcare marketers have traditionally gone about attracting new patients and promoting key service lines, and then looking at how the shift in media consumption is disrupting this traditional approach. So how have healthcare marketers typically gone about finding new patients? Well, for decades, they've relied on traditional media. The health marketing mix looks something like this. We had local TV ads and billboards to build awareness at the top of the funnel. Then we mixed in some direct mail to influence consideration. And then we used direct mail and yellow pages to capture demand at the bottom of the funnel. Now, of course, this is overly simplified, but in a nutshell, this has been the practice for years. And for the most part, it's actually been very effective. In order to understand why this approach has been effective, we need to consider what that traditional path to treatment looked like, which was something like this. There was a stimulus, we got sick, and then maybe we remembered the name of a doctor whose billboard we'd seen, or maybe the ad in the local paper, but more often than not, we reached out to friends, family members, maybe even a doctor, explained the situation to them, and asked them for advice on where to go. If we were using the Procter & Gamble traditional marketing theory, this would be considered that first moment of truth. And then we went off to the doctor, and we experienced their care firsthand. Maybe we liked them, and we started to tell our friends about them. Maybe we didn't. Whatever the case, this would have been that second moment of truth. And this model has worked for a very long time. But for a number of reasons, the status quo is currently being challenged. So starting with print, and here we see declining newspaper ad revenues over the past years. And we're really using this as more of a proxy to show what's happening more broadly across the print industry. Back in 2006, as more and more of the population moved online, something happened. As human beings, we changed the way that we communicated with one another, as well as how we consumed content. People started reading their books, their newspapers, and their magazines, first on Kindles, then on laptops, and then soon enough on iPads and other tablets. And the print industry was rocked. And I know from personal experience, I worked in print from 2000 to 2011. It was shocking how quickly it happened, and there were no clear answers in terms of how do you deal with this? Do you charge for content online? Could you live off of an ad-supported model? What do you do? But no matter which strategy you pursued, one thing was clear. Print would never return. Over 168 channels. They're watching the same amount of television. And so you can imagine these audiences are getting dispersed across those 168 channels, which makes it very difficult for a marketer to reach their audience en masse. If you were to buy a spot today on one of the top programs, you might get 12% of households. And that's really good. Because if you were to look at something like Breaking Bad or Mad Men in the season finale for those shows, it would be closer to 3 or 4%. And then to compound the challenge with these fragmented audiences, at the same time we saw DVRs became very, very popular. And I don't know about any of you, I never watch live television anymore. I shouldn't say never, rarely watch live television. If it's a show that I have to watch the day that it's on, I DVR it, I start at about 15 minutes late, and I zip through all of those commercials. Now, one of the few exceptions for me is live sports. I don't have the patience to watch a game that's on DVR and not know if it's the real score. So that would be the time that you catch me watching live TV. So let's say you did. Well, this is what my living room is going to look like. And I thought for a long time this was just me, but we have research that shows 77% of people are simultaneously using multiple devices while they're watching television. So if television advertising wasn't challenging enough, given the fragmentation of audiences across all of those cable channels, the introduction of DVRs, now marketers had to consider whether, if they happen to get that message in front of their target audience on TV, is anyone even paying attention? This is a real challenge right now that marketers are trying to solve. At the same time that print and television have been experiencing these challenges, we've also seen that people are now spending more time online than they are watching television. And this is just between 2011 and 2015. It's not all that surprising that consumers now spend more time on digital than with any other media source, but what's incredible is that half of that time is being spent on mobile devices, and more than 1 hour is being spent on video. Video is now becoming a huge force in the digital era. The way that marketers think about the customer journey and the way that you reach your customer, it has to evolve with the consumer. There's been a significant shift in behavior, and we need to adapt our marketing efforts to meet consumers where they're spending their time. So all of these changes that we've discussed so far, we're spending more time on digital than we are on any other medium. We're constantly searching for information about our health, 1 in 20 searches on Google. This leads us to the assertion that digital has, in fact, changed the traditional path to treatment. We believe that as it relates to health, there's still that stimulus. You wake up, you're not feeling well, your child has a rash, whatever it may be. What's the first thing that you do? Do you reach out to a family member, a friend? No, you go online. And so we believe that digital has, in fact, negated this concept of that first moment of truth and replaced it with what we refer to here at Google as that zero moment of truth. Before anyone engages with a family or friend or a doctor, they're going online and starting their own research process. And it's not all that surprising, right? When you think about choosing a healthcare provider, a hospital, whatever it may be, consumers really want to take their time to understand their options, and they're going to consult a variety of sources to inform and to educate themselves. While traditionally they may have gone to doctors and friends and family, and even remembered things from traditional media, television ads or billboards, what we're seeing now in the digital age is that search and web content, online social networks, and online video are being tapped into more than ever before. And the healthcare industry is starting to take notice. Here we see a headline from an article in Ad Age where executives in the healthcare space started talking about how maybe digital would be the cure-all to all of the difficulties that they've been encountering over the past few years. And the author sums it up perfectly in the byline by saying, maybe it's time that we take our message to where the patients are, and that's online and on mobile. And here at Google, we're starting to see some of the bigger players in the space are shifting their budgets over to digital. And our expectation is that as they have more and more success with digital, they're going to get more aggressive, and eventually others will follow suit. That said, change is always gradual, particularly in the healthcare industry. And I don't think I need to tell any of you that. Here what we see is a study that BIA Kelsey did last year, where they were looking at projected local ad spend in the United States. 14% was going to digital. Now, at Google, we're never going to tell you to stop doing television, that there's no place for direct mail or other channels, but you do need to find the right balance. And I think the data supports the fact that we need to be doing much, much more in digital. So what does this underinvestment mean for marketers? Well, here if we take a look at a query that I did for the symptoms swollen ankle, black and blue, there is not a single ad that shows on this page. And I did this here in San Francisco. It's not like I was in the middle of nowhere. Ben's going to talk a little bit more about symptoms later, but simply put, these are missed opportunities for you as marketers. And we're seeing these missed opportunities across the board. Just this past year, we saw 60% of hospitals near me searches went unanswered. 40% of emergency rooms near me went unanswered. And 30% of lose weight searches go unanswered. Okay, so that sums up my piece here. I know that I've thrown a lot of data at you, so this would be a great time for you to turn to your Google partner and ask them to help you. What do I do with all this data? How do I integrate this into my digital marketing strategy? Because they can help you out. That's the role of a Google partner, and we have a lot of confidence that they can help you make heads and tails of all of this data that we just reviewed. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you all have a great day.
Welcome back. Don't forget to share your thoughts on today's live event by using the hashtag PartnersConnect. Next up is Ben Tyson, a trainer here at Google. Ben helps to educate Google partners and create custom strategies for businesses just like yours. Ben will take you through today's digital patient journey and help provide insight into reaching your potential customers online.
Hi, I'm Ben Tyson, Head of Sales Enablement at Google. Today, I'm going to walk you through the digital patient journey in regards to what types of resources they're using to make their purchasing decision. Essentially, what hospital are they going to go to? What gym are they going to go to, and why? 3 components that we have to leverage in our overall marketing strategy is search, display, and online video. Let's start with search, and I want to start with a number that is staggering. 77% of all online health queries start on a search engine, not even comparable to any other marketing channel in existence today. Even if we're comparing that to health information sites at only 13%, it's obvious that our search journey in regards to health inquiries start right there on a search engine. Furthermore, if we focus on some subverticals of health, like behavioral health, what we have found is that 52% of behavioral health treatment centers' traffic comes from a search engine. What about hospital sites? Well, that's even more staggering. It's actually 70%. Almost 3 out of every 4 people that come to a hospital website came from a search engine. With that in mind, what's very interesting is what about those individuals that are in an emergency situation? And we found that 2 out of 3 individuals who went to the ER found that emergency room via a search engine, which I thought was kind of weird. I felt like if I was looking for an emergency room, I'd probably be in my hometown and would then go ahead and go to the hospital that I'd normally go to. But ever since I had kids, I realized this couldn't be further from the truth. Considering every vacation we take, no matter where we go, no matter time of year, one of my kids always gets hurt and we have to take a trip to the emergency room. Well, where am I going to start? You got it, on a search engine. What's interesting though is if we take a look at where people are searching and what are they actually searching for. It really comes down to 3 things: condition, treatment, and symptoms and diagnosis. Those are the 3 primary reasons that individuals are leveraging a search engine to gather more information of actually what's taking place and what's going on within their body. But what I want you to take a look at is that sector in green that is labeled local. What this is telling us is although most consumers are looking for information about their condition or looking up these symptoms and what that could potentially be, we're all doing that at the localized level. So creating a marketing strategy that's focused on symptoms, treatments, as well as condition, and bring it into a hyper-local focus is going to be an extremely fascinating and well-received marketing strategy. But what's also insane is this is not 20 years ago in the health field, where we used to get a diagnosis from our doctors and then just take that for its worth, and then go along and get the treatment that's recommended to us. 60% of patients today like to compare and essentially validate what their doctor has actually told them. Very different from about 20 years ago. What's interesting is if we look at search behavior, the path is highly diverse. In fact, there's over 4,000 unique search paths that consumers are taking to work with a healthcare professional. But what's very interesting is 65% of all paths equal about 20 of the different search paths. So what that tells us from a marketing perspective is what we need to focus on is finding what those 20 search paths actually look like and marketing our business towards that, as we're going to equal about 65% or reach 65% of all consumers looking for my particular product, service, or brand. What's interesting is that most paths start via non-branded. You can see here that over 90% of all health searches are non-branded, not looking for a particular hospital, but more so looking to find out more about the symptoms, condition that they're actually facing. What's interesting though is if we look at how these are assisting in the overall conversion that's taking place of a consumer, yes, as we move towards the end of our buying cycle, branded search terms actually do increase, but we're still leveraging research on symptoms as well as conditions. This is the lost art form of today's digital marketing for most healthcare providers, considering the fact that we're so often focusing on our brand where we should be focusing on symptoms and conditions. Now, that's not to say to leave your brand out altogether, because if we focus on what we're doing at the point of conversion, just about 50% of us are actually searching for a branded key term. And we can see that conditions as well as symptoms terms actually reduce at the time of conversion. But there is good news in all this. What we have found is that the more times a consumer is actually searching, the more likely they are to book an appointment with you or convert online. What we found is that a consumer that consults 15.3 resources is going to convert into appointment. So what this tells us is from a marketing perspective, we have to be there across the entire search journey, from research to conversion of that customer to ensure that they're engaged with our brand throughout this entire process. Very crucial from a marketing standpoint. But let's dive into some sub-verticals. What we found in the beauty and fitness space is that 82% of all generic searches play a role in the beginning or the middle of that particular conversion path. Furthermore, if we look at what individuals are doing or what action they're taking after they see this ad, what we found is more of the research side of the funnel, as 35% conduct more information or research, and 29% are actually beginning their research process. But what's interesting, if we look at the beginning of this search funnel, 21% are still considering the hospital that was actually advertised. So it creates a really significant engagement interaction with this customer at the beginning of their overall search stage. If we can get them to interact with our ad, what we have found is that they're going to take some sort of action in resolving the issue they're facing. Now, mobile is that constant companion that's with us 24 hours a day. This is how consumers are utilizing their mobile device when searching or where they're searching for a healthcare provider or healthcare insights. What we found was pretty interesting. 61% of consumers use their smartphone to search for health-related interests while they're at home. I thought that was very interesting. Why wouldn't someone go to their laptop or desktop or tablet? But what we have found is that's the key driver. On the other hand, imagine yourself at work dealing with a very personal medical issue. Are you going to use that corporate loaned laptop to look up that information? Or are you going to pull out that research companion, your smartphone? And we found that 27% of individuals are doing that. And then furthermore, 16% of us are searching for health-related information while we're still at the doctor's office. This makes total sense if we look back at the statistic I gave earlier, where 60% of us are validating what our doctor just told us. Potentially, we're actually looking for treatment centers in the area. Very crucial for a doctor's office to protect its market share with patients that are already in their office. Now, what's driving a lot of this uptick in mobile searches and health-related fields is all the near-me searches that are taking place. What you're looking at here is a graph we made on Google Trends, really comparing the difference between searches or interest in coffee near me or two health-related fields, gym near me and dentist near me. What's interesting is I assumed that coffee near me would be a tremendous amount of interest higher than dentist or gym near me. But what we can see is there is a like comparison in regards to the interest of near me searches. But when we think about mobile, we want that interaction to be very rapid. We want all our information and details very quickly. And what we found is that consumers, about 50% of the time, search for health information because it's quick. They need that instant gratification. When we look at behavioral health and how we can capitalize on quickness, it's really leveraging some of the AdWords formats that are available. What you're looking at on the left is what we would call site links, really giving someone an opportunity to engage with different parts of your website or different types of content that might be deep doven into your website. And on the right, you're looking at a call extension, giving someone the opportunity to just hit a button and call your business immediately. Furthermore, if we look at how you can capitalize on this in the vitamins and supplement space, creating product listing ads, very simplistic. Having your product with a photo, reviews, the price, engage someone to buy with one click of a button on their smartphone is one of the best ways to engage and get business from this consumer. When we look at the vitamin supplement space, what's really interesting is that 89% of smartphone users that actually take vitamin and supplements turn to a search engine when they're actually researching that category. But what's important? It's not all about being quick. You have to create a frictionless experience on mobile. 77% of consumers will actually switch if a mobile site or app doesn't make it easy to find what they're actually looking for. So be ensured that you are creating a quick, frictionless experience for consumers that are coming from a mobile device. Here's a great example. 1-800-CONTACTS, they do a fantastic job at making the whole entire interaction, whether that's from their mobile site or from their application, very seamless. So you have to ask yourself a few questions. Is this a frictionless experience? What do I need to do to get better? How is the interaction? Is it easy to purchase things? Is it easy to find specific content in the health-related industry? Heck, go out and search some of your competitors' mobile apps. Search their mobile sites and see what that experience is. You'd be surprised at what you actually find. All right, Now that we've walked through search, let's quickly describe and walk through how display actually engages and educates consumers that are looking for health-related interests. First and foremost, we have to understand what consumers are doing online as a whole, because only 21% of our time is actually spent searching online. 79% of our time is spent outside of a search engine. This creates a very big opportunity for us to help engage with consumers and have them understand what my brand represents and how I can help them in their time of need, as they're accessing different websites, blogs that are all health related, and you can focus on that. Furthermore, as we see here, search is really that springboard that creates interest in a consumer. And after they have conducted that search, they're going to go to other sites to have more insights and more research. Here are just a handful of websites that a consumer might go to when looking for health-related interests. Understanding that these sites are specifically for health-related interests, displaying your brand next to some of this content can be a key driver to conversion for consumers. Because what we found is that patients who actually booked online, digital was a key component in the success of that for that particular hospital. So consumers, 83% of course went to a hospital site, but look at the middle section here. 54% on a health insurance site and 50% on health information sites. Understanding that 50% of health interest comes from display when actually converting into an appointment for you in the health-related field. All right, now online video. This really informs and connects and inspires consumers in health-related field. What's crazy is when we look at YouTube, there are over 1 billion videos viewed that are health-related last year. That's a 92% year-over-year growth, as last year there was only 600 million views. And you can also see here on exercise, there was 300 million views. What types of online videos are we actually looking to engage with? It's really funny, because there's probably a handful of you right now who are shaking their head. Yes, I need to create more online videos. Yes, I'm going to do that. And you ask yourself, where do I start? Well, it's very simple. There's really 3 things that you need to create to have a very successful online video campaign and strategy. First and foremost, details about your treatment and procedure. Absolutely crucial. But even more crucial for me as a consumer would be a patient testimonial. I can understand a patient has gone through with your practice, where they started and where they ended up would be ideal in my decision-making process. And then lastly, symptom and condition overviews. Absolutely crucial when considering an online video strategy. What's interesting is that 50% of patients would like to hear from another patient's story on a video about how they felt no one else could understand the situation that they're actually facing. Very crucial, again, in creating that engagement and making your practice a reality for a consumer watching a video. Now let's take a lighter note and look at vitamin and supplements. Really 2 key factors here. Health benefits overview and product information are the things that we're looking at. But what I find interesting is you look at this testimonial coming up again and consumer review and ratings. Absolutely important, specifically when we're looking in the vitamins and supplement. What about those that are looking for weight loss, right? Really 2 main components from a video standpoint. Fitness and exercise is what they're looking for, or meal preparation. Now here's the thing. We're not suggesting that you hire a video production crew and try to spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a professional video for your particular practice. Take out an iPhone, take out a tablet, and actually film what's taking place in your office to make that come to reality and inspire individuals to want to work with your business. Now, we also want to look at interests in home fitness. And what we found is that 87% of consumers tried or are interested in trying exercise at home and watching videos about that, while 46% are interested in streaming online fitness videos. So the actual want is there from consumers, but what we're finding is that businesses in the healthcare space are not actually providing that type of engagement for consumers. What's interesting is if we look at YouTube and how it's been trending, the term workout at home, the searches on that on YouTube have skyrocketed over the years, and this graph is showing that. But what we're finding to be the most significant is the how-to videos. There's been a 70% increase in searches on YouTube with how-to in it. What this tells us is consumers are being more proactive in regards to fitness, vitamin and supplements, and their overall health care to be able to look at how to establish something. Two great things here. What we found is how to establish a six-pack, right? Who doesn't want to know how to do that? Everyone wants to, as you can see how many subscribers they have to this channel, over 4 million subscribers. And then one of my favorite, a video that I actually watched when my kids were younger, is how to calm a crying baby. This is actually just a physician that is specialist in pediatric doctoring. So what's interesting here is there's 18 million views that have been hit on this particular video that was filmed from a smartphone in his office showing how to calm a baby. If you create engaging content that users want, they will come and watch. So what are we doing with online videos? Well, it's definitely driving action. Of course, we want people to contact a hospital. We want people to book an appointment. But what we're also finding, it creates other actions that are going to lead or be a channel in that decision-making process. For example, talking to friends, families, and colleagues, and of course, sharing that online video with other individuals. So what we've walked through here is 3 indispensable marketing channels available for you as a healthcare provider or in the healthcare related field: search, display, and online videos. When you think of all this, remember, your goal is to inspire individuals to engage with your content. If we can create very motivating content, we can move someone to take an action. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben. Our live stream is now coming to a close. I hope everybody was able to learn more about search trends within the healthcare industry and the importance and changing behavior of today's digital patient. I do want to remind everyone that the Google partners in the room are the experts. They work with this information every day and can help create a plan that fits your unique needs. Please remember to grab the info sheet, which your agency partner can provide. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you all online.